I had Professor Nuts sitting in this chair a couple weeks ago, all right? And he told me about this song, the Cry for the Youth. The story that Professor Nuts gave me is that was originally his song.
Yeah.
You liked it, and then
Yeah.
Cat took it from you and recorded it. Please tell me the story of that song there.
Well, the story with this song, Cry for the Youth.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Cuts Entertainment Report podcast. And today, I have a really special guest in the building. Listen, I would say 5 years ago to the date, I spoke to him virtually, but now we actually have him in the studio. You know, we have in the building today, we have Mr. Junior Cat in the building today. What's going on, big boss?
Give thanks, boss. Enough respect. Whole heap of things going on, you know?
No, you don't know how happy I am to actually be sitting across from somebody like you, boss.
Yeah, man. That bless me, man. Yeah, talk about, man.
Definitely, because
Long time.
because I seen you about 2-3 months ago. You were up in the city. It was September. You were in the city.
Yeah.
And I seen you, but you said, okay, you're leaving next day. We didn't get to really link. But then, you said you forwarded back.
Yeah.
Just link Pablo and Lord Fury and the man them.
Yeah.
And they said, they made it happen right away.
Yeah, man. It's a real, man. It's real. We was leaving for show because, you know, we would have glad to do the interview, Muscle. Because with your thing, shot, you know?
Yeah. That means a lot coming from Mr. Cat.
Man. Yeah, man. I talk about, man. Then when we do your interview, then, you know, we get a lot of good results, you know, from people, you know, so we know we are touch places, you know?
You understand. The original name is Mr. Dax.
Yeah, that's why me enter the music with, you know, as my nickname from the yard, you know what I mean? Family name, Mr. Dax.
Why did they call you that? What did that mean?
I don't remember, you know, but when I was younger at home, otherwise from Wayne, when my mother called me, my other name, otherwise from Wayne, my street name when my friend them used to call me, is Mr. Dax. Me did get it from one of my father friend, him used to call me Dax Holiday. You know?
Yeah.
And then they cut it down to Mr. Dax. So when we enter the music business now, that time my name was Mr. Dax. So me constantly used to working with Mr. Dax. So it's when me meet people like Bonnie General and Juna Demos, up to now them a war. The two of them I say, them give me the name.
Yeah.
You know? But I remember one time Juna Demos asked me if me and Supercat is family. We meet in Clarendon at a dance, and from ever since that time, every time I give me the mic, he would have say Juna Cat because it was Juna Demos. You know? Yeah.
That makes sense. You know what I mean? And then him or Bunny General, they changed it by just saying it all the time to now Junior Cat from Mr. Dax.
Cat, yes.
And did you, when they first gave you that name, were you embracing that name or you wanted to be known as Mr. Dax?
I never even used to use the name, you know. I was just going by Mr. Dax, same way, even when them used to say, come down, Junior Cat. And I don't know, for somehow, the name start to roam wherever I go, and then I end up start to use the name, because when I start to record, if you hear my first song, what I did for Early B, I don't think I was going by the name of Junior Cat at that time.
It was Mr. Dax,
it was
the first
Mr.
one.
Dax, yeah. I think so, it was Mr. Dax. You know, so for some reason somebody would say use the name or me did start use it, but Mr. Dax was my original name when me go by. It's not me name myself, Junior Cat. You know what I mean? And me never just take up the name like me did glad for it. It's somebody shoved the name and it end up stick on.
Because you know how it goes, right? If you fight against a name, the more you fight it, the more it's going to stick, you know?
Yeah,
so you might as well work with it.
I was not accepting the name even when them say come in Junior Cat. I was still saying Mr. Dax.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you always want to have like a separate name from your brother Supercat where people aren't always comparing you guys and mixing up together?
Yeah, because that's what I was doing. No, don't even know that I was doing the right thing because Mr. Dax make me look like I'm a separate person in a corner by myself doing my own thing. But now that this Junior Cat stick, whosoever never know, will be like or feel like I started out in this business by living off a super cat energy or his image or his name, but I come into this business with my own name and my own problem doing my own thing. You know, so whosoever never know, then now they would know that I never named myself Junior Cat. You know what I mean? And it's not like I would fight against the name, but at the same time, I was going by Mr. Dax. You know, and it wasn't a problem to me because it was a name that given to me by original people from I was a kid. So it wouldn't be any problem for me to keep the name. But maybe people never like it or it never sound like how they want it to sound or how me to look, so they figure less Junior Cat. So a lot of people take this Junior Cat thing that I am following Super Cat. You know, so I just want to let them know I didn't name myself Junior Cat. And the name was given to me by Junior Demos because he was Junior Demos since he was a friend of Nicodemus. So maybe he feel like I'm a brother of Super Cat, so I should be Junior Cat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's what it is, you know?
And do you think having the name Junior Cat helped your career or hindered your career or did nothing? It did both.
Well, what I think, you know, I think if I was going by a different name, I think I would be better off.
You think so?
Yeah, because since you're a junior, you're going forever being a junior when you should be a senior. Because it look like you're not carrying your own weight. And that's how people look at it, you know. You are using that to get a recognition or something. But whatever name I was using or whatever name I should use otherwise from Junior Cat, I would still make my way through by cutting a road for myself because I have enough talent and lyrics to back whatever I'm doing. You know what I mean? So I think it cut short by going that way, but leave everything unto the Most High because you are not trying to prove anything to anybody. So you know you have artists change their name, and after they change their name, then they go higher. So sometimes your name have a lot to do with your career.
You ever thought of changing your name?
Well, I already changed my name. It's because people still saying Junior Cat because I think I'm a lion.
Listen, if you think that's what you are, that's what you are. You understand?
Yeah, Sizzler call me Junior Lion. Yeah, Sizzler say you ain't no cat, you're a lion.
Yeah.
You know? And I just look over it sometime and then still saying Junior Cat, Junior Cat. But if I should get up one day and put my name on a record and broadcast it that I'm Junior Lion, I mean no offense to anybody, but just to prove myself how much powers I have can make things work for me, I could just get up one day and say I'm Junior Lion and I put it on a record. That's my new record now, saying no Junior Cat no more. And that will be a different addition for me to prove whether it's gonna be worse or it's gonna be better, because it leaves to the power the person have and the heart that you have and the work that you do. It will work.
because you're no longer associated with another name.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you see the chatter as we all see it.
Yeah.
People always compare Junior
Yeah.
Cat to Super Cat.
Yeah.
Okay, who is the better one? Who has the most lyrics? Oh, I like this
Right.
one better. This one had more commercial success. This one is the real dancehall one. It's always compared.
Yeah.
And does it get
But
frustrating after a
since
while?
you're junior, you always be under. That's how people look at it. But so I don't pay it any mind, you know. But that's how people see it, because if you're a junior, then you're going to always be a junior. So you cannot be a senior.
Yeah.
You understand me? And that's what you really want to be. You understand?
Hey, you know what? It is what it is at this point.
Yeah,
right?
because I don't want Supercat to feel like I'm taking his son name, and then I don't want my son to come and feel like he cannot name after him father because him father is already a junior.
Yeah.
You know?
You see, even in your reasoning, you're full of lyrics and full of vibes. Listen, the funny thing with it, I had Professor Nutt sitting in this chair a couple weeks ago, right? And he told me about this song, the Cry for the Youth.
Yeah.
All right? I want to know what's the real story behind that song, because I seen it on a record by a guy named Delton Screechy, but he's singing it, but it had either you as the writer or Cat as the writer. The story that Professor Nuts gave me is that was originally his song.
Yeah.
You liked it, and then Cat took it from you and recorded it.
Me no alla fi dope, me no alla fi soap, me no alla fi macho mark, neither look. Me no ball fi dignitary, ball fi no big soap, me no ball fi no man in no cheap piece. Me have fi cry fi the youth, cry fi the, me have fi... Junior Cat, loved it. And took it. Go back a pen. Start DJ the lyrics. Super Cat said, me love that more than you. And took that lyrics. Cat told me. Cat says, your lyrics make me reach New York, you know. Yeah. Me have to cry for the youth. Super Cat, cry for the youth. I wrote
originally your song,
I wrote it. But you see, Super Cat is my friend. I'm not the one or the person that angers over foolishness. I go on with all of my lyrics, them, as long as you not take my wife.
Yeah.
They go down. Go on with my lyrics. You see, me not fight Cat. Cat is my friend. And if me write a lyrics and Cat love it, hey, that means I'm good. I have to commend Papa Cat for loving my lyrics. No, that's how I stay. That's my heart. I have to commend Papa Cat for loving my lyrics. I told him, I said, Cat, actually, I don't know what you do for me if you take my lyrics, you know. No, me tell Cat, me say, you don't know what you do for me, man. Me respect you for that, you know. Because you take one of my lyrics. And remember, you were a more established and a more publicized DJ than me out there. If you can take my lyrics and make yourself a man and feel good, and what do you? Real good actor.
Yeah, man.
That's all me stay. I don't fight my co-workers.
Please tell me the story of that song there.
Well, the story with this song, Cry for the Youth, is really not my song. And it's not Supercat's song, but me didn't took the song. I have a brethren go by the name of Iron Man. May him soul rest in peace, he's gone now. He was a brother of Junior Frost. Junior Frost also gone too. And they was from Portmore, where Professor Nuts from. And they used to follow this sound named Love Child, and Professor Nuts used to DJ the sound. Anyway, Iron Man end up in Cockburn Pen, where we born and grow. He didn't born there, but he came there with his family to live, and we meet up together as youth, you know, and he was also a DJ too. And as I said, he's from Portmore, so he used to listen to Professor Nuts, so he was DJing the song. And me and him was collaborating with the song. So he was singing, we don't holler for dupe, we don't holler for soup, we don't holler for Matthew Mark, neither Luke, we don't cry for no dignitary, nor no big soup, we don't cry for no man, no three-piece suit, we cry for the youth. Right? My part of the song is a part of the song where I say, the youth them are balling, mama, woy, woy. Because I'm trying to add to the song, Cry for the Youth.
Yeah.
And we'd have a next part of the song named the youth them are suffering in South Africa. Poor people was killed by fly and mosquito, and the 10-cent bullet that are them life savior. But as I saying, we was combinating on the song. So the song was Professor Nutt's song. Anyway, we was getting so famous around there with the song. And Supercat heard the song. And they went to the studio and recorded the song. 'Cause we didn't record the song or nothing like that. And he didn't know it was Professor Nutt's song.
Okay.
He didn't know. So he took the song and he recorded it for Winston Riley. Right? The same time he did the song Boops. Right? Which he had no rights of doing that anyway, because that was our song, whether we take it from somebody or not.
So he's seen you guys doing the song and he knew it was you guys.
Yeah, we was at Bambolan every night. Me and Iron Man was tearing down the place. We was getting so famous that mean we was on the top of the list there down in the ghetto, where we did more than one song in combination, because Iron Man is also versatile and me and him is like street boy, you know what I mean? So we would sing as we go along and we'll build things together, and we have so much lyrics where we didn't know what we have.
So you guys were almost a duo, or you guys were just parring?
We was parring. We was living like brother. We was living in one house. Sometimes we wouldn't go home. We'd be here for weeks. We'd go to country. We'd be there, and and the truck back with the sound system. We'd stay at Iron Man house. Sometimes Iron Man would be at my house, and that's how we used to live. So what I'm saying, Iron Man didn't even really understand what was happening, because he was just liking the song. He never recorded the song. We was just doing like dancehall, or back in the days, it's no problem if a guy, because enough people voice song and it's not for them song, right? It's somebody else's song, which nobody even know up till this day. They would just be like, oh, he's the one who do the song, but it's not really his song, because DJ was chopping lyrics here and there. But what I'm saying now is that Supercat liked the song, and he recorded the song line by line. That means he was listening the song, that he get to know the song so good. And then when he recorded the song was so big that Professor Nuts heard the song. And I meet up with him one time, and he said to me, and I said to him, yeah, I know the song is your song. But listen, Iron Man is from Portmore here. And Iron Man living in Cockburn Pen, and he came here with the song, and me and him combinate on the song. And we do a lot of damage with the song. Nobody even know that it's Professor Nutt's song. They would think it's our song. But when he came to me, I tell him, yes, I know it's your song. So that's why we never record a song. We wasn't doing it like we was going to record a song.
It was just for a dancehall purpose.
Dancehall purpose, right? Yeah. Even the same Under Pressure, it was a part of our same thing. That's why Under Pressure was a part of the same Cry for the Youth, because that's where it come back down in South Africa. Under pressure, people are suffering in South Africa. Poor people was killed by fly and mosquito. 10-cent bullet was them life savior. So the song is only get furnished and vice by Supercat.
Okay, because I really didn't understand what Professor Nuts mean, that it was his song. And then now that you explained it the way that you explained it, it makes total sense. It was just now Cat recording it now. That was kind of a problem there.
Yeah,
now.
He heard the song and he liked it, and I think he went into a studio, and when they played that rhythm, he figured more or less this song could fit on it. And he writes a song, thinking that everything would be okay. And what we are trying to do is to speak the truth and not to let anything be a problem by trying to hide anything.
Yeah.
And when he said to me that day in Portmore, I said, yeah, I know, but that song came here through Iron Man. And me and Iron Man was partner. So we was rocking it years. He was DJing the song. Where I could start the song and Iron Man could start it. That's why, that we was talking about that an hour ago, and Fury said to me, Denton Screech sing the song,
Yes.
And I say, yeah, he was thinking when he say A Mirage, he was thinking it's me. I said, no, I'm not A Mirage. I'm not A Mirage. I don't know which one of the Mirage is A, but I'm Ricardo Mirage.
Our Mirage.
Yes, so I'm R Mirage. I'm not, so whatever they do, they cut me out of it, which I don't feel anyway, because it's not my song. But whosoever is trying to say that it's for them song, I will say it's Professor Nut's song.
And that's what I rate as you as a big man DJ.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't lie about that because if Iron Man was here, he would tell you that I like the song and I hear Professor Nuts with it and I took it and he never recorded it.
Yeah. So out of that song, 2 songs came out, which was Cry for the Youth them and Under Pressure. Both came out of that same one song.
Yeah, we furnished those songs into the dancehall in Cockburn Pen, Bambulan with Soul Imperial. We was on the top of the chart every Sunday night inside that venue. People was listening out for us to sing that song and whatever else song we have because we was doing very good in dancehall at the time, which it wasn't easy because there was so much bad artists out there. You know?
Definitely. And what song, was it Soul Imperial you guys were DJing on?
Yeah, Soul Imperial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you guys were DJing the song. Okay, that's first one happened. And when you heard the song recorded, did you and Supercat talk about it, or it was just a thing after it was recorded?
No, it was not talking more than sometimes you just feel a way that you can't even say anything, you know what I mean? And you have to just try to know that in yourself, when you make lyrics for yourself, and if anybody should took that lyrics, you can talk and say it's my lyrics. You know what I mean? And if anything should happen and a person come by and speak the truth, you cannot lie about it. So I never let it bother me like that. But I was really thinking that, you know, they should allow we to do that.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Got you.
Yeah, they should allow we to do that. And that's why Professor Nuts, he said he feels so good that Supercat singing song. So I wonder if we did sing it, if he would still feel good.
If the song bust, like the way how it did, you'd feel good that you know something you came up with bust, you understand? Yeah, man.
Yeah, but as I say, it wasn't so easy for me to sing anybody's song at all and just make a name like that. You understand me? So I always try to come up with something for myself.
Yeah.
And true being we wasn't this big intelligent guy who coming from university. We didn't have those big words to use, so we would talk the patois and talk the real ghetto style. Yeah. So whosoever been down there in that situation would understand that these guys have everything they need. Because if it's a dancehall and you could find lyrics that you could hold off a dance for the night when it wasn't so much DJ, then you have enough lyrics to balance yourself.
For sure.
So I wouldn't need to take another guy's lyrics and make it bother me, you know what I mean? Because I could listen to a lyrics and build a lyrics half it instead of to DJ the same lyrics.
Got you.
Right?
Got you.
Because my first lyrics that I ever make in life when I touch a microphone, it was Michigan and Smiley do a tune named Diseases. And when I hold that mic, it was a Christmas holiday and I end up do a tune named Christmas Breezes.
Alpha Diseases.
Alpha Diseases. And I win the Jamboree.
Okay.
Talking about Shelly and Jeans, eases and squeezes and diseases, and then come back right to Christmas Breezes. And that's where I becomes the winner for that Jamboree in Bambulan. The first time I ever put on my name to enter Jamboree. Couldn't even ride the rhythm, but I have so much lyrics that people on the street would be like, that's Mr. Dax.
Yeah.
That's my boy. They lick the fence down.
Yeah. As a big Mr.
Yeah,
Dax.
they laugh from my start till it done, they couldn't
Yeah.
believe. And I'm not riding the rhythm. And I win the jamboree. Yeah.
It's just the lyrics.
Yeah, man. Whatever inside of you, you was made for this, So anyway you take it that this business wasn't gonna escape from me, whether lyrics or what have you, because I born with lyrics.
Yeah.
Born with lyrics.
No, man, we could see, because when it comes to your lyrics, it's like most okay, yeah, you have 45 songs where you have chorus and stuff, but a lot of your lyrics don't have chorus, boss.
Yeah.
It's just lyrics.
You know, much
lyrics.
time most I hear people use lines, and I know that's my line.
Okay.
And I just know that, maybe them like it. But they wouldn't just get up and say, it's Mr. Doc's line. And I wouldn't fight them. Because sometimes somebody know, but not everybody know. So the truth was always somewhere, so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep it easy. I know you two big songs. Yeah, you did Soul Imperial, did Cosmic Force. Those were like your training grounds.
Yeah.
But your real big songs that you really got to was Killamanjaro and Stur Mars, were your two big heavy songs. Tell me 2 nights that you remember on Jaro and 2 nights on Stur Mars that you'll never forget.
But even with Stur Mars and Jaro Muscle, as I said, I was a DJ of Soul Imperial. Jaro heard me one time. I went there with Supercat after Jim Kelly died. I went there one night with him, and it wasn't working out because everybody was like taking themselves away, because, as I said, Jim Kelly was the king for the sound. And, and Jaro came to Cockburn Pen one time, and I was telling him that Supercat is not here, and he was telling me to come here.
Yeah.
And I said, me? And he said, yeah, come.
Yeah.
And he said, I didn't come for Supercat this time, I come for you, which I was surprised, because I was saying to myself, I can't manage Killamanjaro. Me? And, I take the trip with him, and we go up in Laverne, Stavern, and he was sitting over there like where you at, and I was over here. And he was watching me, and I was DJing the sound. I was saying to myself that maybe he don't come back for me tomorrow, because maybe I'm not all of that. This man said to me when I was leaving the dance that he's picking me up tomorrow, and he had some more date down in Westmoreland. And I went and get Iron Man and all of them, and Ninja Man, German, and I said, let everybody come. So I take the whole Soul Imperial crew to Jaro. And I can remember one specific night with Jaro when we was clashing with Silverhawk.
Yes, that's the 88 dance.
Yeah. And I bought Ninja Man there, and Ninja Man was pushing the fire harder than me, because Ninja Man bust before me. And I never forgot that night with Silverhawk and Jaro, where I witnessed people cry because they wouldn't believe that we, as the younger generation, dominated more than the bigger guys them who was there, because they wasn't into clash like they would come at you at that. They would just DJ against the next one. We was eventually warring them.
Yeah.
We was like a battlefield, and then they find out that Junior Cat eventually can handle himself as a solo artist, and not because him name Junior Cat. We see him work. Supercat is not there, and him do him thing. See, I end up round Stur Mars sound because Early B gonna foreign, Supercat gonna foreign, and Stur Mars sent call me, Danny Dread, eventually come and pick me up on a bike. And I was decided that we're going to country with the sound. And I was DJing the sound, and I remember one time Skengman come to Jamaica, and he tell me to bring my passport. And the next thing we know, we was in Miami. They was keeping a show at the baseball stadium.
Okay, so you were on that show there?
Yeah, I was on that show. And there were 52 of us in the baseball stadium. I was so young, muscle, them time that I didn't know what I was doing, but I was up there on this big stage,
Yeah.
in this big baseball stadium as a little youth, and they would dress me up nice and thing because money was spending. And I remember people were saying to me that you did good, and it's good job, and you sound good. And I never see myself like such a great guy, but I remember I could DJ because I've been DJing from I was in school.
From a long, long time.
Yes, that's all I used to do, just DJ. And I used to have a group of guys on me who used to knock the pan and boop, 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 till we started to punch the B-side in the jukebox and learn to master the rhythm so you could ride the rhythm because people would say to you, say, just catch your timing.
Yeah.
That's all you need, your timing. You have
Because you had the words,
yes,
but you just need to catch your
your
timing.
timing. You know what I mean? And then from there on, I remember I was on all sound system. People would just pull up in Cockburn Pen asking for Mr. Dax.
Yeah.
That's how I end up on Cosmic Force. I didn't go and look for them. It was somebody driving around asking for me and Brockback. And people would come. I remember a guy from Ochi named Masagan. He come to town and in foot he wasn't driving and he was looking for me. And when he eventually find me and give me $150, I was acting like I didn't want it. And I well want the money,
Yeah.
And we leave, we take a bus and we go to a place down in Ochi named Great Pan, And I went by the guy house and I see him packing up the sound and the truck and thing, and we was going up in the bar that Ochi and St. Mary was playing with a sound named Super Studs with a guy named Tina One, Slim Brown, Sprouty Rankin. And these guys was top guys.
Yeah.
And I was there with High Man. And I remember, I used to DJ Hurley B lyrics sometime when I run out of lyrics,
Okay.
Because Early B was my teacher, so I used to study Early B history and Jamaica and them tune you hear me DJ, that's Early B tune.
Okay.
Me him soul rest in peace. And it was 5-6 DJ over there, muscle. And I remember I was keeping up because it was like this sound played and that sound played, so you get time to break and come in. And when I look, I see the morning sun coming out. I couldn't believe. And when they announced it, the guy who owned the sound tell me that we win the clash.
Which song was it?
Super Studs playing with a sound named Masagan. I was DJing Masagan.
Masagan.
And they was on Super Studs. I remember it was Tina One, Slim Brown, Sprouty Rankin, if you remember these guys. These guys was dancehall guys.
Tina One went on to started playing Bass Odyssey and those things there. That's the same Tina One. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He was on, I think, Jack Rubin all them thing there.
Yeah. So I never really dropped my thing even when it get rough. It was people who was telling me that you was the baddest thing and you did good. And you know what I mean? And from there on, I remember hanging up with I was at Metro Mina one at the time with Danny Dread.
Yes, man.
And
Reverend Danny Dread.
yes, I used to go out with them on the sound, and then I move on. I used to DJ Scorpio with Trees. People would book me to go up in the country, and I would go and meet Trees. And when I meet Trees, Trees was like fire. And one night me and Trees was in Nata Bay and I was DJing a tune named Drive By Shooting. I just make the tune and I was DJing the tune and I shot fire the night, and it was saying salute. And then, me and Trees run it off and then me and him reach the morning and I remember him said to me, say, Booba, him call me Booba, and say, Booba, well, I've been through a lot of them, but your thing not normal, and, when him tell me that,
Yeah.
I was saying to myself that I've been watching General Trees and Tiger so long, two of the greatest I ever meet, and when he congrats me and tell me that night, I just see myself as somebody who was made for this job, and most of the artists them who me look up to, I have them as bad artists for me.
But what you say was really Trees was the one from you heard him say, yeah,
Yeah.
but he was the one that
Yeah.
really gave you the confidence that you're
Yeah,
looking
because
for.
I know Trees is not stupid, and I know Trees is not fake, and I know Trees is a bad artist. And enough bad artists wouldn't give you that credit because artists about themselves, you know. You know what I mean? So you hardly gonna find artists who really speak up, like give an artist him credit. You know what I mean? And that's why I tell you that when an artist is bad, you have to give him that. You know what I mean? And I need you come on an interview and say, this one wasn't bad and that one wasn't bad. Because people would know that you're biased. Because those artists in that time, the two artists them where I come meet in the business after I leave Jaro, where I see with my eyes that if you are not somebody who really great or have talent, you couldn't pass General Trees or Tiger.
Listen, you see when Tiger gets on a show, boss?
Yeah, it's
You see when Trees gives you that voice, that
Yeah.
rocks tone voice?
Yeah, I remember.
With the
man.
lyrics, boss?
I remember those two guys was running Jamaica from Kingston to Negril. Everywhere you go, you would see flyers with General Trees and Tiger.
Yeah.
Those was the best of the best.
Well, you've been through the school. As you said, Early B was really a teacher.
Yeah.
Supercat's your brother. Nicodemus is there. Junidemus is there. General Trees. You were with the best
Yeah,
of the best.
I come through the roughest road down there. We used to buck up people on the road like Papa San, Lieutenant Stitchy.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie you. Lieutenant Stitchy and Papa San is not too easy people to deal with. But we would never let anybody just run way over and the big Killamanjaro. And they would take we down in Montego Bay, down in Negril. And these guys would spit lyrics when I tell you about lyrics put together. And when people would say to me that, I know them tough, but listen, you guys is terrible. You know? And I was saying to myself, I wonder if them are true. And it's long after I come find out, say, this business, you know, the race is not for the swift, you know. You know what I mean? So
It's who can endure it,
Yeah,
boss. And
so-
you're a man that's been enduring it.
Yeah.
And your style, your way of doing things, your pace, your energy, your pattern. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've been doing it. And it's like, I think now people are really realizing
yeah.
the power of Junior Cat. Because you see, last time you're here at Pablo's birthday bash, I took this 2-minute clip of a video with you, Luciana, and Little John singing. You see, when you came on and did your part, it's what's the word? Ganja by Ganja Fat. And
Yeah,
Ganja.
that's your name, Sure Shot.
Okay, you see Short Shot, you see when you DJ that?
Yeah.
That clip right there has over 100 and like probably 10,000 views on Instagram. And when you read the comments, boss, you could see the people them are giving you your just rewards right now. You understand?
Yeah, because what happened in the muscle is, you know that, I'm not going to lie to you. Did you know that a lot of people, like, in some part of America, Canada, England, didn't really know about a Junior Cat?
What do you mean?
Because dancehall, rubber dub, I think people would know.
Yeah.
But I mean, most like the students, them like who start to listen regular lately, they only know about Supercat.
So okay, so then when they heard your lyrics and stuff, they thought it was super.
Yeah, they'll be listening to my tune and think they're listening to Supercat. So when you do a clippings like this and you put it up, you would know how much you do for me. So then people would look at it and they would still think it's Supercat.
No, but in the comments, everybody's talking. Says Junior. They're bigging up Luciana. They're bigging up Little John.
Yes.
But
so
there's
even
something-
one or two people there,
Yeah.
just find out that you have a Junior.
Boss, that is wild to think. Because me, in
and
my mind,
I've been here so long because what happened, you know, is that certain levels of people, they don't really understand the super and the junior thing unless somebody look on the name and see that this is not Super Cat, this is Junior Cat.
Yeah.
Then
One
they-
is William, one is Ricardo.
Yeah, so then they start finding out now, so, it's two of them. You know what I mean? That's when they start to compete them now and say, this one is so and that one is so. Because when Supercat was doing his thing, they didn't heard about me like that. But now that they heard Junior Cat now, you know what I mean? They figure more or less, well, one better than one. But it's not really that, you know. It's because Supercat did his thing, and I sure him get him glory. And I wasn't living off a Supercat strength. So now I'm proving my real self to show them that I have my own talent.
Yeah. Because what I find the biggest difference with you guys, Supercat got the big commercial success like
Yeah.
that. He started out in the dance hall and song and stuff like.
Yeah.
But you know, you didn't get that commercial like he did. You got dance hall hits, you know.
Yeah.
But you are the sound system lyrics, man,
Yeah.
boss. When it comes to sound system, that's one thing you kept to your heart. Listen, when these three rhythms come on, you could find Junior Cat anywhere. When the answer, the taxi, or the Panani rhythm. You see those three rhythms, you control them rhythms,
Yeah,
boss.
man.
You know what I mean? So it's like you guys did two different things.
Yeah.
He started out dancehall, singing and song, but then he went to commercial and got some massive songs.
Which I was there all this time too. I was there working all this time, and now I have to still be here trying to prove myself because I didn't get any glory. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to just step away from the table without I get my dinner.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm still over here fighting to show them that if Supercat did his thing and he went home, I cannot leave because I have to collect my glory.
Yeah.
And how you going to do that? You have to put in your work. And putting in the work, they have to accept you. And they have to give you that credit that, yes, Junior Cat did it.
Yeah, man. Cat,
You know what I
bad.
mean? Yeah.
Even somebody that passed the other day, a couple weeks ago, Mr. Barry G. All right. Do you have any memories with Barry G? Was he instrumental in your career? Or are you DJ and what that? Any link with Barry G?
Yeah, I remember one night we was playing with King Sturgraph in Westmoreland. And everybody was afraid to go and DJ the sound because Josey Whale was such a rough guy. And I remember we going into the venue and we was passing and somebody say, yo. And I heard Burro stop. And I say, I'm not stopping because tonight is war. I'm not in any reasoning or anything like that. I'm going for the mic. And Burro stopped there to reason. And when he come back, he was so toned down, you know, which I was on a high pitch like this, you know. And I remember I was on the mic and somebody grabbed the mic from me. And when I looked, it was Barry G. And he was saying something about a forerunner, you know, but he's saying these guys set it in the dance hall and Ray, and he was saying something about Sean Paul also. And then he gave me back the mic. And this dance was in Haringey in Westmoreland. The dance was so ram. And I remember when Jara said to me that them pull down the sound and half of the sound I play. And the way people love we and love the sound. I didn't care. You know, but I noticed the sound is not really pumping like it's supposed to pump.
Yeah.
And we fight it to the end. And I never get to meet Barry G in them time when Barry G was running the place because I was so young. And if I even go out and Barry G was there, the amount of artists who was there, they was above me. So I never get time to meet Barry G. But when Barry G start to heard of Junior Cat and he start to listen, he find out that, yes, Junior Cat is so bad where I never even did get to work with him on Wadat in my time because I used to DJ against Wadat with Cosmic Force.
With Cosmic Force?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we clashed with them and they used to have people like some guy who used to DJ a sound down there like Peter Rankin. You know what I mean? Some other youth from down in Manchester, they forgot the name, but they used to have a sound down there. They was there before Tony Rebel and them, so I used to meet them in the dance hall. And at that time, I couldn't keep up with them youth. There was bigger DJ for me. So when I meet Barry G, when I tell her with Storygraph, this is when I start to get ripe, sharp. So you know that from the time Junior Cat was here till now, and he's getting better, it must be the hard work or the blessing or something. But my work is not easy. Like, I just come into the business and just bust. And I do a lot of songs, because when Ninja Man did the rhythm protection, I was the one who eventually give the instruction to lay the rhythm, because they was making the rhythm after my song, which is Anorexal Body. So Ninja Man does fit the protection on it with Quote the Melody, and Ninja Man sang Runway.
So your song was the first one, and then Ninja Man recorded with Courtney Melody?
Yeah, because I lay down the rhythm and Ninja Man vice after me.
Yeah.
But Ninja Man was the one who doing the production. But I was because we was playing back the rhythm. Jamaican woman, a sugar, ba 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 ba. Anorexal body, and then Ninja Man company time sent for youth protection and Courtney Melody sing the hook. And then long after we put Shabba on the rhythm. All these times I get no recognition because this project was for Ninja Man. Because I remember when Harry J said to Ninja Man that my song is not fit for airplay, but they also get a commercial for Ninja Man's song, because he's talking about teenage and pregnancy.
Pregnancy, yes.
And that's where Ninja Man really head out. And then he went and did the Gal Give Me Peace for
that was Witty, that?
Witty, Music Master. And then he did the Cover Me, and he was just one after the other going out. And I even went on Vice Witty. I have a song on the rhythm named Gala Say One.
Yes.
Did good in England, but never bust in Jamaica.
But he went out there. Even with Ninja Man. You and Ninja Man ever get into a clash, like he's on a song and you're on the next song, you versus Ninja Man?
Never.
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 Because I know you have a good link with Ninja Man, because even today I was watching the
I brought Ninja to Jaro.
Because he was Ugly Man. He was
Double Ugly.
Yes, on Soul Imperial, and then you brought the whole of them over there.
Yeah.
I was watching the 2015 Ninja Man's birthday bash, and Jaro was playing, and you were there. Listen, when they gave you the answer, I don't know what's in that rhythm bass, but mash up the place, bass.
We were born on them rhythm there, because we are DJ pan it from it name with the horn, and now they mix it down with a bop bop. It's like the rhythm. Somebody do something to the rhythm where them inject it now with DNA. So we'd be in the dance hall, and once they put on certain rhythm, like Shabba said, DJ ears cock up when them hear boom rhythm. Them rhythm, their rhythm will rise with temperature. We know something gonna happen now, because the rhythm is on. So we train for write any rhythm, because most of the artists them never really DJ on a rhythm named Darker Shade of Black. They never DJ on Taxi. They never DJ on Shanghai Shake. And those are the backbone of the dancehall, and those are the rhythm we train on. So when a answer rhythm or a diseases rhythm or a certain rhythm play, we know it's time to dominate.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know that's your rhythm, because talking about the answer rhythm.
Yeah.
I know earlier on in your career, you and Bounty Killer didn't really have vibe, but there was a vibe between you and Killer. But in 2023, you were at Tommy Brightlight's All White party.
Yeah.
And you and Killer was on the stage just to see you and Killer linking, and then again they gave you the answer rhythm and see how Killer was beside you. How did that feel to really be there and enjoy that moment?
I was in the dance, because I was not part of the session or nothing. We having a show up in Rock Hall. And I was there with this little kid called Sky God. You will see Sky God all over the internet doing his thing. He's a kid like that. He's just friendly, lively. He's a friend that bunted to. And he was there with me. So it was an early thing, and we was going home, and he said to me, no man, come with me man, we are going to Tommy Bright Light birth night. I said, what? And he said, yeah, and we drive over there, way up there. I was in a corner, sitting down, and I have a brother named Bobby Phantom. Him is the one who keep weapons. So he said to me, come man, Killer on the stage, we are going to yell Killer. And we went up on the stage, and Bunty was there. I think it was Bunty and Toddler. And for me and Killer never meet for such a long time. Killer never hesitate to greet me and embrace me, like a brother. And he was saying good things and things. And so I never leave. I stand up right there with them, Killer doing his thing and Toddler doing his thing. And when Killer start the show, I remember him say, him bring me in. And then me start to DJ, but they never understand it. And then him say, Junior Cat. You know what I mean? And him embrace me again. And then that's the time now when they find out, Junior Cat and Bunty are friends now. And everybody started to get excited. And I say, boy, I love that Cat and Rare. I like how the Killer embrace you and thing. And me I show them. So right now, me and Bunty never really have nothing except when we did their Delhi ranking birth night and, a little thing that go down, and we're not feeding of that. Because me and Bunty was there from Jammins days. Killer did come see me at Jammins. And me always spread a love with them by just mustering and make them laugh. So them always like me, you know what I mean? So by me and Killer meeting up that night now, give me back a lot of energy because, people love Bounty Killer and things like that.
Of course.
So they just like to see me and Killer out there on the forefront like that. And it got viral again.
Yes, listen.
You know what I mean?
When we see it, it's just to see
Yeah.
again, because the Delhi ranking, I think, was like 98.
Yeah,
And this is
yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
This is like 25 years.
Yeah,
And just
man.
to see how you guys were there and the respect and the love.
It's
it was
like anyway,
amazing
me
to
and
see.
Bounty buck up is like, him have that respect, you know what I mean? I'm not going to lie to you. Then we say, Killer is this and Killer is that. But I know Bounty grow out of certain things now, and you won't get him low in himself just for gain a hype because he have everything he need. So Killer becomes a different person if you don't attack him wrongfully. You know what I mean? So by Killer looking into me now, Killer find out, say, but Junior Cat, they did it with a long time from jammings and thing, and he's a good youth and he's a man who know him work, and we don't want to hear it again like we all live like dogs. So he would have said, this is it here, sir, and we're good. You understand? So we keep it like that, because I don't buck up Bunty regular. You know what I mean? But I know the love what Jamaican people have for Bunty Killer, and if you show me respect, I show you respect. We're gonna be brothers.
Yeah. No, definitely.
You
Just
know?
to see that was
Yeah.
amazing. Can you even? That's a song I was telling you about. The song
Yeah.
Short Shot.
Yeah,
You were
that,
DJing
yeah,
on
that kind of
night,
song was new them time there. I didn't even remember the words of the song so much, but I get the time to leg of the song, and that's when the song really start to rise. 'Cause as I said, that video that night go places.
Yeah.
And I wasn't DJing Killing Pussy or Come True like the regular song, so, yeah.
How did you come up with Short Shot?
Somebody sent me a rhythm, I was doing an album for a guy named Parish, and he sent me the answer rhythm, And I was listening to the rhythm, but the rhythm played different, and it have a on in it where it sound like the original. And I was thinking about a song where I was studying something in Jamaica and noticed that most of the Dan them is people from country. So if I would say, if Grandspen Dan is from Clarendon and Jungle Dan is from Westmoreland. But when I thinking about the song, it wouldn't be my style to break it down that way because my style is to keep chopping, you know. So I was talking to one of my brethren, you know, and me I tell him and thing, and me and him there, a youth named CP Inc. So me start say, you know, bother with them dance grand spinner come from Clarendon. I said, all right, I say, the song just come to my muscle like I was sleeping, like me a vision or something. But when I wake up the morning and me I say, it's 3 days me I listen to the rhythm, it's time now to get to this song, you know. And when I say, most countrymen are in a town them jam. So me no bother with the grandparents. Me say at Kingston the most gunman come from. So me say alright, you can't make it look like I just the youth them in a gun business. Cause police and soldier have gun. So everybody have one. And then, you know, me start say Spanish Town carry the largest gang. Tell you about the one other and the Klansman, Tessa Miller Blackman, Bulby One Dan. So in a Spanish Town, we'll heap a black man hang. And so me say, when I go to Whole Harbour now, I didn't even know what I was going to say about Whole Harbour, but me ready for Clarendon.
Yeah.
So I say, him say Whole Harbour, New Harbour full enough bossy man. And that the youth said to me, you know, and me say, what? Which part near New Harbour? And him say, a Bridget said to me, say, yeah man, enough bossy man come from New Harbour, man. And I say, all right, just to fit in that line, I could use something else, you know. But I go and just use that because maybe I'm right. And then me remember say, Merciless come from Clarendon because remember early B they do a show named Circle Jamaica.
Yes, man.
So I decided to go and Circle Jamaica in a different way, but at the same time it's like me I cover back the Vineyard Party.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I went, the guy sent me the rhythm, the studio time, everything. It was nobody recording me or nothing. It's me recording myself. And I went and booked a studio around in Kasha Park, a youth named Mozico. And advice a tune, one shot. One shot advice a tune muscle. And me send the tune I give them. They master it and everything. The tune releasing and nobody know the tune releasing.
Okay.
Because they're not doing any promotion to let people know that the tune released. But me I run the song so much where everywhere I go, I DJ the song and I get that forward. The album we are doing now. So, it's many more songs. But what happened now is that me and the promoter break away now because they didn't intend to help me back with my expense or whatever. So, you wouldn't even get to hear some of the song them that was on the album.
Got you. Because it was just that song is what we know, but there was more than that.
Yeah, because I cover back the Shabba Rankin Rhythm, Shine and Chris, you know, with that show name and Better Day Will Come, you know.
Yeah.
Rima Man and Jungle Man, I want to take this. Man, for living a unity, righteousness we practice. And tell the government that they cut out the slackness. We don't want no more V and we don't want no more fist. Just drop another reggae beat and see how we rock this. And that's when them turned me off, when the promoter was talking like there was no values for me or nothing like that. And I said, I'm killing myself over here, coming out of my head to find lines to make this thing work. And then them just turned me off like that. So all I leave with is Sure Shot. So I still get something out of it, you know what I mean?
Something is more than something.
Yes, I make the song.
Yeah.
My song, line by line. It's not like we sit down and write the song with everybody. As I tell you, that's all you tell me. Old Harbour, New Harbour, full enough bossy man. And that's all I did need because I don't have any understanding of Old Harbour. I never used to be in Old Harbour like I used to be in Clarendon.
Yeah.
Or any other else place around Jamaica.
When I heard the ganja bike, ganja thing, and ganja van.
Yeah, because Westmoreland is a place like this. If you see a youth with a bike, hustle muscle and buy him bike.
Yeah.
If you see him with a car, hustle muscle and buy him car. If you see him with a van, hustle muscle and buy him van. So there is nothing wrong with ganja. It's a plant. So we say ganja bike, ganja van, and you know what I mean?
Listen.
And even in Westmoreland, they're loving it so much where people have to understand that even when you say St. Elizabeth, it's cultivation, it's promoting, you're promoting the farmers also same way. You understand me? And you go to Mobile where they're killing off so much youth, you have to wonder if it's sacrifice, because the other day, blood are running a Mobile like it's nothing. You understand me? So the song is really trying to speak righteousness or speak the truth.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm a big
We talk about Usain Bolt. We go to St. Anne, we say it's Marcus Garvey land. But St. Mary produce some good musician. Desmond Ballantyne and Berry Sam and Joseph Whale and Capleton. After we leave St. Mary, we go to Portland. That's where Louis culture come from. St. Thomas attached to Portland. And we go down to St. Thomas and big up Bushman. You know? So it's just versatile.
Yeah. No, man, you're bad.
You know, that
bad.
God give you the blessing that if I listen to a rhythm muscle, I could listen to the rhythm and put it down. And when I take up back the rhythm, I ready to do the song because the song come now.
The inspiration.
Yeah, it's here now.
Yeah.
But all you're listening to the rhythm is just lagging in there. But it's here now. So I could balance myself and find out, say, the hardest part of a song is the hook.
Yeah. But that's why even that song doesn't have a hook.
It doesn't have a hook.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a hook because it's like a year Capleton say you don't have a punchline, see. Most of my lyrics don't have a punchline, but if you're going to record, you have to have a punchline.
Yeah, no. Listen, we're in Toronto sitting down now talking. It was actually my brethren, Lord Fury, that you and him and Little John forwarded up here. And you guys have a session this weekend here. But we have some records that they'd put out. Supreme Genesis and stuff that you guys did some tribute to Louis Rankin. Some stuff you did with other hip-hop artists.
Yeah.
Listen, these songs are songs that a lot of your regular fans, they won't know. But these are some big, heavy songs, boss.
Yes.
Listen, some songs where it's like you and Sheik Louch and you and like some of the mans from Wu-Tang and how did you link with Lord Fury to even get these projects off of the ground in the first place?
Well, as I said, I was here in Canada at Soul Survival Place, you know, because I meet Pablo in Jamaica.
Okay.
Soul Survival, I did most of the dub plate for that sound. And that's why him get to respect me, because more time you would send money or whatever to people to did projects and the project didn't come true. I was dealing with it like it's my personal thing. So if I get $1, I would spell the whole dollar because I know Pablo is a good youth. And when Pablo come to Jamaica, I didn't even know it was Pablo because I'm talking to Pablo on the phone and, you know, Pablo is a different complexion, a person. So you think, no, that's not Pablo. You know what I mean? So Pablo would send to me to come to Canada and I would be at Pablo place. When I get a call from somebody that want to meet up with Lord Fury, you know, and Fury was asking me where I'm at, and I give him the address, and then he come by and he say he want to do some business, and he want to do some business with me, and he want to spend some money. And I said, what? That sound good because I'm here trying to hustle. And we take off to the studio, meet up with this guy named Merciless. Nice studio and everything like that, and he was playing some rhythm. And he was saying to me that, which one of this rhythm you're ready to record? I said, record on any rhythm. Just tell me which one you want me to go on.
Yeah.
And then he started to line out the beats them to me, and he started to show me the projects them. And I started to jump on them one, start cutting them down. And I remember I left and go back to Jamaica, and then I come back again, and Fury would come back again, and then now I would do some more track. And Fury would fit up the combination them wherever the rapper is or wherever the reggae is. and try to fit me into those slots. So then a lot of people don't know that Junior Cat is on a lot of hip hop songs.
Listen, crazy hip hop, like
Which is good
crazy
to
combination.
get on that market.
Yeah.
So other people, cause you know hip hop people, most of them don't listen to reggae like that. So for you to get enough for them direction, you have to jump on these tracks, you know. So it's mad people start to Junior Cat on the internet because they be listening to these songs with Utan, you know what I mean? And
Benny the Butcher,
yeah,
DJ Mercer, Chic Louche.
yes.
Who will leap on them, boss?
And I never meet these guys.
Never met them.
I never met them. I met Utan before, I remember, and I know Mabdi.
Yeah.
And so much of the rappers. But as I said, I never really collaborate with no big rappers, and I never meet up with them like that. But as I said, the whole of we in this business together, and I always wanted to get on some of those beats so I could get the love of these people also, because I need that market also and that promotion. And we're still waiting to see which rapper going to step out and say, boy, I would like to vice with Junior Cat, because I have so many songs that I could collaborate with.
For sure, I would love to see that.
You know what I mean?
Your flow, your
Yeah.
easy flow
Yeah.
would definitely work with any of those songs there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, as I said, you're here, you're in Toronto. You have a show this weekend.
Yeah, we had a show this
Saturday.
weekend, Saturday night.
Tell me about the show before I get you out of here.
Well, Saturday night, I think it's a vinyl show. It's like that they wanted that rubber dub 80s vibes. And they see the type of fire that Junior Cat push. So they figure more or less we could give them back some of that memories, that rubber dub style that they wanted. You know what I mean? Fury said to me the other day when I was here, I'll bring you back for this show if you're interested. And I say, just give me the date and let we fit up the schedule. And we'll leave Canada. We went to England. And Fury called, we're back and tell we say, okay, this is a date. And so and so on. We say, all right, cool, no problem. And we find out that it's a different kind of venue. You know, it's not like the regular crowd. It's gonna be a different audience. And it's gonna be more like white people. And it's gonna be vinyl. And these people is people who been listening to we, and we didn't know that they're waiting for it so much that we've been here and they can't wait for Sunday night when the promoter tell me that all the ticket is already gone.
Okay.
And nobody can get into that venue without a ticket, because it's not a big place like that. It's just a flavor that they want to enjoy.
Yeah.
And Lico John is somebody from the 80s who have so much selection and a large catalog. Alongside Junior Cat is like a part 1 and a part 2.
Yo. Yeah, it's gonna be definitely be big. And as I said, it's just because time is limited.
We're not even taking a
It's
thumb
what?
drive with muscle. Because
Record.
we are not doing anything on our own.
Yeah.
We are just waiting to see what they're producing, and we'll be on top of the game.
But that's how you're
We train for
used to
this,
that.
yeah.
You're not used to, okay, I'm going to carry my rhythm. I'm not.
No, we wanted this more.
Yeah.
Because this taking we're back to where we started. And that's why we enjoy by just doing our own thing. And just set yourself free and let people enjoy the vibes. It's drum and bass, the heartbeat of the people, reggae music, rubber dub. And when they say vinyl, you know what time it is.
You understand. Listen, leave some contacts where if they want to book you, they want to do dub plates, anything, leave some contacts. Because again, I know sitting down with a man like you, we could sit here for like hours, but the time is limited. So we're just getting
but we
this
can
little
always do it
until we
again,
forward.
Muscle,
Of
because we have
course,
so
boss.
much thing to talk
Of
about.
course.
And we are not trying to put down anybody. And anything you hear we say, we are talking the truth, because we are not trying to get a forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have so much thing that we can talk about experience or we go through as youth, and people would love it, because the truth, if you lie, somebody would know that something don't right. You know what I mean? But when they go ahead and check out, and when you talk the truth, people would respect you and love you more. And even your friend them in the street who know you would know that he's talking the truth.
You understand? Cool.
You know what I mean?
Leave the number for them before we catch up again.
So for reach Junior Cat, you can reach me at 1876, which is Jamaican area code 277-8068. Right? My email is juniorcat011@gmail.com. Right? Else you can link up any studio in Jamaica, you can contact and they could find Junior Cat easily, because that's my place.
Yeah.
England, Canada, America is the same thing. We've been around the underground, and we've been around anywhere you could find reggae music, sound systems, studios, things like that. That's our business. So, you know, if you're interested in Junior Cat, as I said, it's 277-8068-1876. Right? Enough respect and love. Give thanks for this interview, Muscle.
Mr. Dax.
Email and fax. Tell them don't send no tracks.
Yo, Mr. Mirage, big up yourself
Yes,
again,
sir.
and thank you for making it happen.
Man.
Big up Lord Fury, Supreme,
Yes,
Jeans,
man.
definitely big up Pablo, Soul
Yeah.
Survivor, the whole of them for making this
man.
happen. Thank you guys again for locking in with
Yeah,
me and
man.
Kat. Again, as I said, my door's always open when you forward back.
Right.
You know we have to catch up again. You understand?
Yeah, man, enough respect for telling the people the truth and showing them the right. So whosoever know, and whosoever never know, you could get on Muscle Show, and then you would learn and you would gain so much experience, because we are not trying to slip through nothing or screech it through nothing. We are trying to break it down piece by piece from 80s to 90s to 70s. So anything you go out there and learn, you will remember you hear me with this story before. And anything when I go so, it go near so. So follow your nose.
Bam. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Cuts Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out just for now. This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinedmusichut.com.